So the world and me are not separate, but it's actually made of the same stuff, namely awareness. Mm-hmm. There's only actually, in our experience, the only thing that's there is awareness. Yeah. But what you're pointing to is shame and the duality between good and bad. And this also is a big part of nonviolent communication. It's going beyond the labels. And a quote that's often invoked here is one by Rumi. You must have heard this. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field. I will meet you there. And I think the essence is that we can get so entranced in these ideas. We don't see them as ideas anymore. We don't see them as labels. It becomes part of our perception that, oh, that's a bad person. That's a good person. This is good behavior. That's bad behavior. And that actually, just like that mist that I had, it's kind of a veiling of reality. But we live in this mental structure of judgments. Yeah. And that sort of stops us from being present as well.
Welcome to Wolfe Sound Podcast. Right now I have Hans Van Veen, my good friend and remarkable therapist, remarkable coach. And to me, it's very, very therapeutic. I want to thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if I would call myself a therapist, but I do see that the work is probably therapeutic.
It's extremely effective. And that's why I'm excited to have you here today so that you can explain more about what Aletheia coaching is and why you felt it was similar or if not even better than ayahuasca.
So I don't know if I would say it's better than ayahuasca, but it seems to be more, it's kind of, it's less overwhelming, I think. It can be less overwhelming. It's more easily tunable. You know, when you drank a glass of ayahuasca, so yeah, that's it, you're in for the ride. And there are ways to self-regulate, and some people are better at it than others. But I think with Aletheia, it's in that way more manageable because you can just, take a break. And we also work with this thing called a presence anchor, sort of like a safe place. Yeah, so I guess that would be my answer.
So what is Aletheia exactly? What is Aletheia coaching?
It's not therapy, but it is therapeutic. It does help people a lot, I would say, on unblocking stuff that helps them along the way. Aletheia coaching is a certain way of holding presence with the intention of accepting completely what arises and also being grateful for what arises and having a kind of intention that also reflects that we have an intention that anything that is in you, in me, it comes from goodness. And what I also think is unique about Aletheia coaching is that it has a kind of let's say psychological layer of internal family systems that we work a lot in, because most of us are identified with parts of ourselves most of the time. So then you work with IFS, with internal family systems work. So it's a sort of space holding, but a very specific kind of space holding. So when I listen to somebody in a nonviolent communication session or setting, I'm listening without an agenda. I'm just listening. And this is already super therapeutic. People don't get listened to that well that often these days. So that's already amazing. And Aletheia takes that as well, the same exact intention of just listening, but adds a kind of trajectory. So we want to accept everything because we want to become more and more present. Mm-hmm. And this is actually, it's not different in NVC and nonviolent communication, but it's more, what's the word? It's more intentional, I think, in Aletheia. Plus, Aletheia is also more outspoken about the frame. The frame is, there are 4 layers of depth where we can be in contact with ourselves. So non-dual awareness, presence, process, and parts. So going from depth to surface. And because we have that awareness, we're also more skillfully attuned to where somebody is. Where in an NVC session, which is just a good comparison, I think, that's less clear and it's also not trained. So it's something like that. And one way of describing the process is also called unfoldment. So, if we're doing a session, you're basically unfolding whatever comes up by giving it attention. It kind of unfolds. And you can also see that, if you're triggered by something, or if there's a pain in you, that's often a part that reacts. It can be a protector part or a hurt part or an exiled part, or, these kind of parts in us. And by allowing it to be whatever it is, it kind of it opens, it relaxes, it unfolds. And it's really comparable to almost a massage. Like if you just give it presence, give it warmth, give it attention, it sort of dissolves and then you can relax. And that does, by the way, reflect my own experience of ayahuasca, because the way I experience ayahuasca is there's a difficult topic for me. I'm going through it in waves until it relaxes, until it lets go. And in ayahuasca, you sometimes, vomit whatever it is energetically. But this kind of massaging and the way that Aletheia massages is just by accepting presence. But that is so fundamental, like you said earlier, and also the session I had earlier today with the client, where I was basically giving him the opportunity to recognize that he could accept a certain part in him and even be grateful for something in him. And just this awareness of, oh, I can love this part, actually, that completely transforms and that, unfolds, relaxes. And with that relaxation, you come more in presence. And from presence, you can sort of see your life and be guided by your own intuition. And I think that is what Aletheia does. It brings you into presence. And the depth of presence and the depth of non-duality are both presence levels. But non-duality is sort of an even more open presence. I'm no longer a separate self. I'm completely open awareness. But from that presence, either from the presence or the non-dual awareness, you can live in connection. And the way I see it is that if you want to walk your path in life, you have to be self-connected. And once you're self-connected, you're automatically walking your path in life. I don't know how you experience that, but that's my intuition.
I love the way this method works, because it has a lot of the elements that we are missing, which is a complete empathy and holding space, very grounded. And then you allowed me to hear and listen to all parts of myself, which is what I was also experiencing in ayahuasca. Of course, in ayahuasca, we don't take breaks. We have to sit there and process everything. You kindly give me breaks when I need it, and listening to each part. And sometimes when you guide me you say, go to this part and ask if it's okay to leave it for a while to go and tend to this other part. And whether it says yes or no, we oblige, and then in the end, what you help me reach in the end is that full integration that we also miss after ayahuasca. Like you go to ayahuasca and then you're on your own. You're the perfect person to come to after ayahuasca, or even after other forms of therapy, because you literally help us integrate, which is very rare to find in when we're seeking help in coaching. I also love this full acceptance that this idea. What I find very amusing is that when we met and how incredibly you held space for me, and then we came full circle and you did this Aletheia coaching, which I had no idea what it is. I just trusted you because you're a natural. You're very natural at holding space and at helping the other person integrate somehow. Even from before you studied this thing, it's something about you that is very natural. And after ayahuasca, what again resonates is that you keep saying it's about unfoldment or unfolding. And after ayahuasca, I wrote, my book is called The Unfolding, A Journey of Involution.
Aha.
And it's so against toxic positivity and it's not self-help. It's about embracing the shadow and accepting ourselves. And I always say, enough with all the healing. Let us embrace the perfect mess we are. Until I met you, because you allow that. I needed the help of somebody else, and I believe we all need help. I'm not for, oh, I'm independent or I've done enough and I know what I'm doing. And even coaches need coaches, right? What makes it so valuable is that you feel that there's another human being, like you said, who's listening to you fully and making you feel seen and heard, and you're met with empathy rather than judgment and violence that we encounter a lot in the world. And this is what the way you coached me, like this is the impact it had from just 2 sessions, and I think it's groundbreaking. I think people need to look into it.
Yeah, thank you.